Welcome to Home Cooking with Foodland. It's great to see everyone. We haven't been together for a while. Last time we saw each other was Father's Day, which was a good meal. I remember that one. That steak with the wraps, outdoors, mountain was great. This cooking class, we're going to work on a cool dish, and it features crispy rice and spicy ahi. Like, what more can you ask for? The dish is sort of inspired by a dish that I've seen at town. Ed Kenny made this dish. This is crispy rice with ahi on top. And if you've been to Nobu, he does a really interesting diced rice dish with spicy ahi on top. And the thing that I wanted to mention to everyone here is the reason we're doing this is we're celebrating rice in this video, and it ties into this rice sort of celebration and that we're doing at Kahala Market by Foodland, which is it's all about rice. And we're having this really cool event where it's all about rice, and you can come. We have all kinds of different rice, different kinds of rice recipes. We're doing rice dishes at the hot bar. We have this fun puffed rice, and even in the restaurant at Al, we're doing a rice tasting menu paired with sake. So a lot of fun. Did you hear that? Really, really cool. And it's interesting. It's like I feel like on the technology side, we're a little bit rusty. So just bear with me. Even for now, I was distracted in the beginning because I could keep hearing myself in my earbuds, and it's gone away now. So anyway, we will start right away. And I thought it's a couple of things. It's a great dish because it uses leftover rice, and it's going to be so popular. You're going to have to cook rice to make this because people are going to want so much of it. I'm going to teach you guys how to make spicy ahi, like a really minced version. But the fun part about this dish, once I show it to you, is you can make any kind of minced poke or ceviche that you want to do. But the creaminess of this is really good with the rice. Or you could just fry the rice and put it on the side and like use them as poppers. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them using the chat feature, the Q&A feature in Zoom, and then the team Cheryl will be shooting questions to me. And the last couple ones you guys have been kind of quiet. So please ask the questions because it makes it more fun. So to starters, we have oil. I just have some oil heating up, but I'm going to kind of show you what I did here. So this is rice, the fresh rice, and I'm doing a cheat style, right? If you're going to do sushi rice, you got to take rice vinegar and then you kind of cook it with sugar, it dilutes it, and you reduce it. I'm just doing a really almost like a quick kitchen hack. So I'm just lightly sprinkling rice vinegar on the rice, and I'm just going to put a very thin layer of sugar on here. And the sugar will dissolve because you're going to put this in the refrigerator overnight. So we'll get this all nice and mixed together. And then what you want to do is put it in a nice container and press it hard, push it down, and then refrigerate it. So that's kind of the prep. And I'll show you what that looks like. We'll come over here. Let's take a look real quick. Now, I'm going to get these frying, and then we're going to go and make the ahi while they're kind of going at the same time. But I did want to show you, I've been heating up this oil. This is peanut oil. You want to use something that has neutral flavor, that has a high smoking point. Peanut oil works great. Vegetable oil works good. If you're really purist, you would want to use bran. I think it's a rice bran oil that they use for tempura. But I'm looking for 350, and as you can see, I'm at almost 500. Too hot. So what I'm going to do is, there's a couple of things you can do. Just push it on the side for now. Let it cool off. The other thing to think about is I'm going to make a bunch of these. I'm going to drop them in, and it's going to lower the temperature because the cold stuff dropped into heat lowers the temperature, right? But I still have to make sure that it's not too hot. The other thing you can do if something's too hot and you want to drop the temperature is add some fresh oil in here that's not hot yet. So for now, I'm going to let this cool a little bit while we make some of these rice. So here's the rice. I put it in here last night. It's cold, it's firm pressed, and it's ready to go. So this is sushi rice that I refrigerated.
I have the first question.
Yes.
What's your favorite brand of rice and why?
That's a tough question. Well, what I will say is these days I am liking Genji Mai a lot, and specifically because I'm trying to eat better, and I like the fact that it's a brown rice, but the rice is it's the sort of the outer shell is it's thin, and so it's delicate and it's still delicious. Um, I do like to eat like I can't. I'm a sucker for like short grain rice. I do buy product from Japan, which is really good. I do have like local or California Hinode, and I have Diamond G. So I have all of them in the cabinet actually. One of the ones I've been dying to try, haven't gotten around to it, and you can get it at the Column Market, is Rice Factory. And so they're bringing in rice from Japan and they're milling it here, and that I hear is like amazing. So, you know, that's the things. That's the rice I'm using. But one of the things I will say is I've started to play with rice cookers a lot, and this rice cooker here is the one I'm using now. And for the longest time, for many years, I had the straight up, uh, Panasonic, push the button, and I've loved that one, and it worked great. And then someone told me you got to try these, and I'm like, isn't worth it. And I bought one, and it does make a difference. It kind of like pressure cooks the rice, cooks it slowly, and it just the grains. I've learned that I'm looking for separate grains, chewy, but not have rice. If you overcook it, pretty much water gets mushy, right? That's the thing that I'm trying to prevent. I don't like that. So I don't know if that's long answer to a short question. All right, so let's check the temp here. So we're a little bit, it's a little bit past, probably go to 4, but I'm gonna still go with it because it's gonna temp is gonna drop. So here's a small little rice piece I'm gonna put. This one might fall apart a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, not. I'll drop that in. It might splat a little bit. Keep in mind there's water in here, right? So that's why I have this. Let me see what that looks like then. If they come too close together, they may stick. So you gotta kind of like keep them separate.
Keoni, what brand was your rice cooker?
What is it called? Zori Zushi, I think is what it's called. Yeah, Zori Zushi. So I'm putting these and I'm just dropping them in. As you can hear, that popping, right? So you really want to see it kind of cooking in there. Keep an eye on them. You're gonna get some of the rice that'll come off. That's fine. Put this one in. As you play with them, you get better and better. You'll know exactly how much you can, how hard to press them.
Is that like a thimble size?
I would say, yeah, the thimble size is good. It's good. Or like think of a sugar cube. Now what I'm gonna do is I want to flip these over. Even me, I gotta practice these more, but these ones are looking nice, right?
So kind of like a tater tot size?
That's a good one. Tater tot. Think tater tot. Squeeze it. This is I'm learning. Squeeze it. And you like pretend you're making like a nigiri sushi here. Squeeze it. Drop in. It's gonna splatter. Splatter a little bit. Drop it in. And you really want to let them get nice and golden brown because that toasted golden brown is what you're really looking for because that gives you the caramelized flavor is what makes them taste delicious. So again, just kind of like roll them in your hand. If you want to start shaping them, you can. Drop them in. The nice thing about these is they're not gonna burn. Well, it might, but it's gonna take a lot to get burned. So really like press them. Again, drop them in.
Can you remind us what kind of oil you're using and what the oil options are?
This is peanut oil. You want to use a neutral flavored oil that has a high smoking point. So examples: vegetable oil works, like canola, rapeseed. Here, see the golden brown you're looking for? Rice bran. Ones that would not work so well for this would be things like, see, this is the one, this is ugly, right? That's the one that's not so nice. That's your tester, okay? And I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, season it.
Someone wants to know if you can make 1 to 2 inch rectangles and pan fry it with just a little bit of oil and then turn it over. So not deep fry it, but just pan fry it.
You can pan fry them. And when I was testing the recipe originally, I was pan frying them, and it worked. It definitely works, but there's a trade-off, right? So if you're pan frying it, you just don't have the same. There's an even cooking that you get when you're doing it when you're gonna deep fry them or submerge them, or so you can do that. And it's just that when I do that, you just get like a crispy layer on one side and a crispy layer on the other side, versus something like this, which is going to be completely crispy around the whole thing. So you know, it's when you do this the first time, it's going to take a few to kind of like figure out exactly what works the best for you. But you can see, even for me, right after I did my first couple, I got my feel for the rice. They're much more uniform inside here. More here.
So why can't you put more in at a time?
What's that?
Why can't you put more in at a time?
You can. Well, you have to be careful. You have to be mindful, right? I'm just not putting them as many in because I'm talking at the same time and I'm distracted. But you know, if you wanted to make a bunch of them at the same time and drop them all in, you can. But don't put too many at one time. Like I wouldn't. I'm gonna try to fill it up so you guys can see. Okay. I would maybe put one more. I'm gonna put one more, but I wouldn't go more than that. And the reason why is you're trying to time the temperature, maintaining the temperature with cooking. And if you put too many, the temperature will drop too low, and then the rice will be sitting here soaking up oil. So it's a balance point between adding as much as you can without dropping the temperature of the oil so fast that now it's just soaking up oil. Again, you see how when the fresh ones go in, it kind of wants to pop a little bit. So you just gotta be mindful of that and be ready to kind of deal with the popping. And then the other thing is you can keep doing is just keep checking the temperature of the oil. If you're dropping these in, right, the temperature drops down and then it recovers. And so you just want to maintain a 350-degree temperature. That's like the temperature for deep frying. And then you'll be okay. So as long as you're keeping that 350, you should be okay. The other thing is if you add too many and you overcrowd the pan besides the temperature, the rice cakes will start to stick together and they'll hard to pull apart. So you just try to balance putting them in and not putting so much that they all get stuck together. We'll let these cook. But again, you see, I'm letting them take their time because I really want them to see how they want to stick together already. I really want these to get nice and golden because the crispiness that you're going to get, the goal is you want a very crispy outside. I guess, you know, whoever said tater tots is right on. It's like, when you think about tater tots, right? Crispy outside, tender, fluffy inside. And that's kind of what you want to try to get to. A little salt here.
How How much oil do you have in your pot? Is the rule just to be able to cover it?
I'm trying to put as little as possible oil because I don't like same thing. I would rather not have as much. So yeah, I would say these are about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So I have about, because you can see these, they're just peeking out of the top, right? So I have about just under an inch of oil in that pan, and that's why I also use a smaller pot, because I wanted a surface area smaller so that I can get the fat up higher quicker. I'm saying there's probably about a cup and a half in here, roughly. You can see how they're nicely browning. So these are just about there. I'm gonna pull these out, and then we'll go ahead and get the ahi going.
Why couldn't you make it bigger, like little patty sizes?
You can, and you know, that's a great question. It's a great segue into talking about our restaurant at Al. We have this dish, right? It's we call it like the fresh catch or pure 38. And what we do is we take we make a rice patty. Like if you think of a disc about that big, and we completely deep fry it till it's crispy like that. Then we put a piece of seared fish on there, and then we make like nishime, and we take the nishime broth and clarify it. So we pour it on there. It's really this clear, nice broth with nishime vegetables and a piece of fish. It's really good. Okay, so we're gonna make the fish now. So I got some really nice sashimi grade ahi, and there's a couple ways you can do it, right? If you want to, you could just take this and just like chop it up. But I want to show you like in a restaurant how we would approach this. I wouldn't just chop it up. So we're gonna, sorry, I wanna slice this into like this nice beautiful dice. So I'm gonna cut through here.
Several questions about the rice balls. Can they be
Mhm.
cooked, fried ahead of time?
You can fry them ahead of time if you're gonna eat them, but you want to eat them the same day because they taste the best fresh. Like when they're still in that, and literally if you eat them when they're just a little warm, that's really when they're delicious. So you can, but they start to lose their luster, I guess, if you go after a day or so. They'll start to stale out.
But you can make all of the nuggets first and then
Yeah.
fry them. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why if you have a deep fryer, you want to like mass produce these, refrigerate the rice, make all your little balls, and just like go on a frying frenzy, and then you're good.
And then did you add salt to the oil or salt to
No.
the rice after you fried
The
them?
rice after it comes out, treat them like French fries. As soon as they come out, you season it right when they come out, because if you try to season them after they've come out and cooled, the salt won't stick. That little bit of moisture and fat that's still there, right when it comes out, will help the salt adhere. So I'm just dicing this up really fine. And again, if it's easier for you, you can just take this and rough chop it. One of the things you can do if you're gonna fly is go to Foodland and pick up your favorite poke, and then just rough chop it. So we're gonna take this, and then we're gonna put it in a mixing bowl, and we're gonna make our version of spicy ahi. So we'll put that in here.
Can you talk a little bit about electric burner versus gas?
Yeah, I mean, that's a personal choice. I think that, like the one I'm using is the electric, right? It's what do they call it? It's a hot top, or it's not induction. A radiant cooktop, I think they call it, and I like it a lot. It's really good. It heats up well. Um, I don't have gas, so it's kind of like if you have the choice, right? You don't have a choice. It tells you what you don't have. You have to work with what you have. But um, I mean, gas is really good. I think even the coils are okay. They're not as good, but I mean, I've had those too, and I think if it's really about working with what you have, and even for gas, right? Gas depends on the BTUs and it depends on the stove. If you have a gas stove that has low BTUs, you're always trying to get it hotter. So like this one that I have, my stove here, this radiant cooktop gets screaming hot fast, and I like that. I don't think that I could find a stove here that I would be able to afford that has the BTUs that I would get in a restaurant. So it just really depends on it's a combination of those two things. That said, I've also lived in places with just the little coils, those the ones that pop up and down, and it's about knowing how to work with a piece of equipment, how to get the result out of that. I mean, same thing. Like I just came back from camping, and everything I was doing was on a campfire on a grill, like this makeshift thing. And so it's if you understand how to work with the tools you have, I think you still can make really, really great food. Okay, so we've got our ahi. I'm gonna put, where did it go? A little bit of shoyu, just a splash. A little bit of sesame oil. Tiny splash of that. I gotta get some sriracha. I gotta figure out what I did with the sriracha. Okay, put some sriracha in here. Now, you can also use chili sauce. Some people take this chili sauce and strain it, which also works. I'm gonna put some mayo here. We'll start with that much. And then we're gonna go ahead and stir. Kind of bring it all together. Just for a first pass. Now, how spicy this is a personal preference thing, right? And a lot of restaurants, when they make spicy ahi, it's really like Kewpie mayo and chili sauce. So, I like to put sesame oil. I like to put a little shoyu. I actually like to put some sesame seeds in here sometimes. I also like to put green onions. So I have some here. We'll cut some up. I will say that gas stoves, man, they look cool though. I'll tell you that. If you have another one that everyone likes that I would say is really worth looking into is induction. You got to use special pans and stuff like that, but it works great. Go in. One thing that I do a lot these days is just grill. I have a gas grill outside, and I roast chickens on that. I do all kinds of stuff, and I treat it like an oven, and that way I don't have to clean my oven after, and I don't have to spend time heating up a big oven to cook something for 25 minutes. I am mixing this vigorously because by doing this, it starts to kind of like it breaks down some of the proteins that are in the ahi, and it makes it sticky. See how it's nice and sticky now? That's what I'm looking for.
How do you know that you have sushi grade ahi?
You want to look at it. I mean, you're looking for color. You're looking for clarity. Like here, right? This is like really nice, bright. There's not a lot of suji or like string that's running through it. It almost like looks like bright red, for lack of a better term, like jello when you think of that, right? That's what you're looking for. So when you slice into it, you want very clear, bright red pieces of fish. And I think that this one looks really good over here. And it doesn't have a lot of string. So I'm gonna taste this. It needs a little bit more heat. A little bit more creaminess.
Can you use hopper rice or brown rice for this, for the rice?
You know, I haven't tried, but I think if you're gonna, well, here's the tricky part about hopper rice, right? The reason why this works is because you're relying on the stickiness of the rice to hold together when you're frying it. So you can try with the brown rice. It depends. If you cook your brown rice where it's really like just done, and then the, what is it, the bran or the chaff that's on there is still very intact, it won't hold together. Or if you cook it where it's a little bit more broken up, it might work. I think Genji Mai would probably work because it's a thin skin. So you just have to try. Even, and to that point, like any of the other rices that are out there that are not sticky would probably not work for this. If you think about it though, if you've ever had arancini, this is almost something like similar like that, right? Arancini, which is risotto balls that have been breaded and then deep fried.
And when you're cutting the ahi, how do you know what direction to cut it?
You try to want to go, if it has like light striations, you want to cut it like that against the grain. This made it, the guys at Foodland made it easy because they made a sako block. So I'll just naturally you want to cut it this way. But if it's a really, really good piece, any way you cut it should be fine because it's not going to have all that string. All right, so we're going to go in for the presentation. Now you can make this, you don't have to go crazy on the presentation. You can do whatever you want. You can make it a bowl, put it family style, but I figured it's fun to always show, like, and give you an example of what it could look like if you were to do family style or a nicer like restaurant style presentation. Put some sesame seeds on there. And people love the idea of opulence, right? So if I had like osetra caviar, I would be all, or smoked trout caviar, or even yukura, I would put, but I'm gonna put a nice lump of masago over there. And then I'll take a green onion. Just very finely slice it. But you can imagine that, right? If you do spicy ahi or made like a nice ahi tartare, you can put wasabi in it. You can do some with the gochujang. Really cool one. Maybe do a Mediterranean with olive oil, garlic, maybe a little bit of acid. Throw some Parmesan cheese, capers. Just a lot of just fun ways you could go with something like this.
When you cooked the rice, did you add a little bit more water to make it more stickier?
I did not. I made it just as like I made it as if I was making sushi rice, which is actually less sticky than we would typically eat it. Because you want the grains to hold together versus to being like really kind of cooked and mashed. So here's that. We have the tart or our ahi, spicy ahi. I'll put a little of these garnishes on, or these are the picks, right? And then what we'll do is I'll bring this over. We'll put them here. Kind of, if you want to put a piece of paper underneath, that's kind of fun too. But again, this is not the pretty presentation, but when you're gonna have your get together for like Super Bowl, right? Just make a huge bowl of the ahi and just let everyone go for it. But there you go. There we have our crispy rice cakes with spicy ahi. I think a really fun one.
Can you demonstrate to us how you would eat it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was waiting for someone to ask. So well, you could do the chopsticks or like the toothpick, and you could have people like poke it, right? And then dip. Or you could take some of the cake, take some of this, put it on top of there like that. Get a little more of this. And then go for the bite. Oh, any questions about the dish? No?
Can you add nori? And then what about the beer?
The beer? Totally can add beer. I'm trying to think of what beer. I'm trying to think of a local beer. Come on, anyone, local beers, Maui Brew, Kona Lager, Waikiki Brewing, that'll be good. So I have one of those. What was the other one? That was the question. Beer and what?
What about nori? Can
Nori
you
would
wrap
could be
nori?
cool. You could take nori, put one of these, put that in there, wrap it, do that. You could take some furikake, throw it on top of here. But that's the thing, everyone's getting creative now, right? And that's the fun part. Put some shiso on there. So I think it's a great starting point. And you guys can decide which way you want to go with it and have fun with it.
Would basmati rice work?
You got to try. I'm not sure if it's sticky enough. You can try, but it might not hold quite well, or you got to cook it longer. The thing you got to be careful, if you cook it too long and it's too mushy, then it's not going to work. But I'm in my head, a lot of the people that that are all locals in Hawaii, everyone has rice in their fridge, right? So you can be fried rice or crispy rice cake with spicy ahi. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the ways you can think about it. As Cheryl's looking to see if there are any last minute questions, I just want to let everyone know that our next class will be September 8th. So I have to think about what that's going to be, but it's kind of a nice bridge into like the fall season. So I might do something kind of fall related, but it'll also be right after Labor Day weekend. So I know you guys will be a little 3-day weekend out, but I think we'll still have fun. We'll still have a good time. So that, don't forget to come check us out at Kahala Market to check out it's all rice theme. We have these cool musubis, right? We have an East-West version. Come get a rice bowl, really good. And then for those of you folks that might be looking for something to do this weekend or next, we also have a really cool partnership with the Hawaii Food and Wine Festival. And so tomorrow night, we're doing an event at the Pahana Bar with Roy Yamaguchi. Sold out, so sorry if you didn't buy tickets already. And then Friday, we're doing this cool event. Shoot, I'm trying to think where it is already. I lost track. Oh, Redfish in Kaka'ako. Mark Noguchi with Chef Reed. It's going to be fun, fish and poi. And then we're going to be wrapping the week up with a really nice dinner with Ed Kenny and Chef Becca at Mahi'ai Table in Kamakana Ali'i. That's going to be a fun sort of a modern plantation menu. And then the following week, Friday, we'll be doing a nice kind of a escape to Southern France meal with really beautiful wines paired with that by our advanced sommelier, Marvin Chang, at Kahala Market. And then Saturday, just like I think there's only 4 or 6 seats left at a movie. You want that one? We're doing a sneak preview of our really cool cocktail like lounge that we're doing called 11 at the Ala Moana Foodland Farms. It's tucked away in the corner. It's hidden right now behind a scaffolding, so no one even knows it's there. It's going to be our little speakeasy. So if you're really looking for a way to get out, and of course to do it in a safe way, we're doing a lot of social distancing and making sure that we have wellness checks, etc. So it'll be a safe experience. Be kind of fun. So if you're looking for something to do, we'll see you there. And are there any other questions, Cheryl?
How can you learn more about those Hawaii Food and Wine Festival events you just talked about?
If you go to hawaiifoodandwinefestival.com, I think /events, there's all of the listings on there. And our series is called Summer Nights with Foodland. So if you go to that event, then all of our offerings will pop up. It's going to be really a lot of fun. So we'll look to see you there. All right. We'll see you on September 8th. And until then, keep cooking.